instructions, obey the rules, and let's see good sportsmanship. Shake hands, back to your corners, and come out of the bell. Good luck.
Hamed's first fight since losing his aura of invincibility, well beaten by Mexican great Marco Antonio Barrera. No shame in that. Great fighters like Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard and Joe Louis. They lost too, but they came back to reassert themselves and enter boxing's Hall of Fame. Here's the Prince, Mark II, 13 months on, against Manuel Calvo. Now, what has Calvo got to offer? Well, he's always been plenty durable enough, and he's sparred 200 rounds in preparation for this in a 6-month preparation. Hamed's has lasted 5 months, but he was troubled by a back injury, we were told, about 6 weeks ago, which was why this fight was postponed originally. 28 now, the thriller chiller days behind him, and he's got to be all business now in this second phase of his career. Southpaw jab from Hamed, who's looking to be more accurate, he says, and faster, a bit like he was in his younger days. And maybe he won't load up quite so much. He admitted he made a big mistake just trying to knock out Barrera that night with no plan B. Having said all that, he promises a spectacular end this evening.
That's what he needs. There will be a little bit of nerves, but he's always been a very confident character. But he'll want to do this job in very good style.
Back on the scene of one of his greatest triumphs, the victory over the long-reigning IBF champion Tom Johnson. If he could show that kind of form, it would be good. Bound to be a bit of ring rust, I would think. And he says no nerves, but I think there will be some.
Just having a look at Calvo, seeing what he's got to offer.
Just looking to box behind that southpaw jab. One of his great performances was against Jose Badillo. It's one I always liked, when he used the jab perfectly to pick his man apart, soften him up before finishing the job. Emmanuel Stewart, one of the world's top trainers, has been sacked. It's Oscar Suarez running things in the corner tonight.
Well, Hamed always been very confident and comfortable with Suarez.
Calvo on his bike a bit, trying to stay out of trouble and managing to do that quite successfully so far. Hamed boxing conservatively, feeling his way back into it all. Must almost seem like he's starting out all over again. The reality is he's been boxing for 21 years, amateur and pro, since he was a little boy of 7.
For so many years, right at the top level.
Quiet opening round, and Calvo kept himself out of trouble, but Hamed was in 4th gear. Impressions, Glenn?
Well, I think he often does this early on in the fight. Just has a look. They have these little whispers, or a lot of whispers about the second round. He wants to make a performance. He wants to make a statement. So I'd look to him to try and pick it up in this round.
After that jab, I want you sharp with the jab, right? Yeah. Here we go. Here we go. That's beautiful. No rush. We got 12 rounds to play with, all right? We're gonna have some fun tonight, all right? A little sharp. You're gonna do it. Here we go, baby.
Yeah, they get on well, those two. They're on the same wavelength, but they've got to prove that it really does work in the ring, because a lot of Hamed's recent fights, even before he came a cropper, he was starting to look like an accident waiting to happen, wasn't he?
Yeah, little mix in the styles, things, since there's been so many changes. He looked as if he didn't quite know what he was supposed to be doing, the old style or something new.
Well, it did seem, listening to that, as if they'd be in no particular hurry to get the job done tonight. Just cool boxing. But he's out of range with the left hand. Not much accuracy so far from Hamed, but I think at the moment he is just doing the reconnaissance. That's a nice, sharp little right hand from him. Calvo is out of range. Hamed was always particularly good at getting matters over with when his opponents were least expecting it, with some punch from an unorthodox angle, like those corkscrew uppercuts he used to produce. Calvo just feeling the weight of that one and retreating to the ropes.
Yeah, just starting to get closer, Hamed, now starting to make the jab work, and the left hand was a solid one.
So much seems to have happened in this story. Was it really 7 years ago on that rainy night in Cardiff he won the featherweight title? It's a good right hand to the body. This is a featherweight who punches like a middleweight. And maybe he just developed too much faith in the powers. A good left hand there, but Calvo took it well, didn't he?
Yep, he's got a good chin, never been stopped, but he's going to need to have.
Just walked onto a little right. Hamed's just clicking into gear a bit here and starting to find his timing, with some quite hurtful-looking punches. The left hand, and the hand speed's still there, isn't it? Blink and you miss it.
Yeah, looks fast now. He's starting to look for the different shots.
He used to love the second round, one of his favourites to get fights over with. But he'll do well to stop this fellow inside too. But he's just starting to let them go a bit now. These left crosses and corkscrew kind of shots. One of the problems he developed, I think, is that he became a bit easier to hit as he slowed down, and they tried to make modifications to his style. He just lost some of that jack-in-the-box unpredictability he used to have. It's very well picked, the jab. That's very good too. And a right hand catching Calvo off balance, and a cracking left too. Now, this is really it from Hamed in the second round. He's turning on the style now, Glenn. That's another big shot.
Looking very sharp indeed, taking these single punches so well.
Calvo's got damage underneath the left eye, but not a cut. And I'll tell you what, he's shown some resilience, because there were some jolting blows that thudded home there. The Spaniard stayed on his feet. But he looked good then. He looked good.
He looked really good. The jab was working so well, and the other punches, picking the ones up through the middle. And he looked very, very sharp indeed.
That jab, keep taking. I know
He turned down the chance of an immediate rematch with Marco Antonio Barrera. There were all kinds of reasons, I think, for that. I think he needed a lot of time to come to terms with it all psychologically.
Well, there was the good right jab, and then the right hook off the jab that had Calvo in a little bit of trouble. But it was all Nas picking the shots so well, looking strong in that round.
He says, I may be a beaten fighter, but I'm not a beaten man.
Round 3.
Third round. Hamed, in a slightly subdued entrance tonight. No somersault. Just as if he wants to get back in the ring and get on with the business of rebuilding his career, and that's exactly what he's doing here. Calvo looking to get a bit braver and busier. Calvo, who lost and won in close fights with Steve Robinson, the man from whom Hamed took the WBO featherweight title all those years ago, in '95. Calvo also came here and got outboxed by former British champion John Joe Irwin. He's only lost 4, though, 33 wins on his record. Hamed's talking to him in there. This is the old sassy Hamed beginning to resurface a bit, as Calvo does get there with a jab.
Well, he's got his hands down by his side, really play acting a bit, looking to load up.
Switch hitting, and a venomous-looking left hand, which Calvo again absorbed. It is such an unconventional style for opponents to deal with, no matter how many times Calvo's watched videos of it.
Yeah, the reflexes are so good, the power is so good. So you've got to be very, very special to just survive in there with Hamed.
One of the questions tonight was how much drive and ambition a multi-millionaire like Hamed could retain at the age of 28. And coming off a defeat, he still looks as if he wants to be there and wants to get back into the real big time.
Looking for the left uppercut, trying to load it up there, Hamed.
Marked up around the face now, Calvo. These shots are bound to take their toll. He's not wasting too many, just missed with that left hand, but he's looking to make every punch count. It's quite impressive economy, punch economy from Hamed.
Good southpaw jab when he wants to use it, Hamed.
Has to be said, he is in with a fighter here who's never really mixed at top world class, and who is a league or two below him on all known form. But everybody's allowed a rehabilitation job.
Almost definitely. He's been operating at top level for a long time, and something a little easier. He deserves that.
Well, it's only sensible after so long away, isn't it?
Of course it is. There's bound to be a bit of ring rust, and the confidence, however much confidence he's got, it's still down after a loss.
Calvo showing lots of grit and guts. Hamed can't get him out of there. There's a pressure, isn't there, on Hamed to win and look good doing it tonight? It's no good him looking a bit sort of iffy, is it?
No, he's got to look good. I think he'll want him to be spectacular, and I think there is the pressure for him to do that. But look at that, his punch economy, 50%. He's not missing with a great deal. He's very sharp, speed's there, picking the shots well.
There's leaping punches, but he does manage to get so much power into them. Somebody once said he does everything wrong, but how right he does it.
Well, it certainly has always worked for him.
Round 4.
Fourth round. Hamed, who says, I'm no veteran yet. I don't think you've seen the best of me. I've got many fights to go. I still believe that I'll be in the history books. Well, he's already in the history books, to be fair to him. It's just a question of whether he'll go on to a more exalted level when boxing historians come to write about him in the years to come. Oh, good shots from Calvo, who picked the punches well there. It's a little sign of the lack of balance Hamed sometimes has. Barrera had him reeling around like a spinning top at times, so off balance was he.
Yeah, well, that's the things he's got to try and change in his style, Hamed. And, there is glaring gaps in the defense that Barrera could bring out, but he was and is a very special fighter.
There's another really heavy-looking right hand, and Calvo ate that as well. He's just like his dad. He looks almost impossible to stop. That's why nobody's done it so far. He's taken punches, I think, that would have knocked out a lot of other fighters, maybe fighters with better pedigree than Calvo.
Yeah, but you can't keep taking big, heavy shots from someone like Hamed. It doesn't matter how tough your chin is.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a lot of those other victims who'd never been stopped either, but they were when they fought him. He's really got the jab working well, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think that's impressive, Ian, the way that southpaw jab is really rocking the head back of Calvo.
Just staying controlled at all times, Hamed. Maybe other opponents, if he does fight somebody like Johnny Tapia next time, will ask him a wee bit more. Of course they will. But against the man in front of him, it's a nice, controlled, composed performance, and the accent is on boxing skills, isn't it? With the power thrown in for good measure.
too many changes in the style. Still the hands very low, relying on reflexes.
See, I think if he does fight Barrera again, a good way to approach it is, how can we win the fight on points? Because we probably won't be able to knock him out. If we do, it's a bonus. That's a good starting point, isn't it?
Oh, most definitely. That's what they've got. They've just got to look to win that fight.
If he wants it, if it happens. It's not close at the moment. Little cut under the right eye of the brave Calvo. And there are some boos from the crowd, and I have to say, I think they're totally unjustified. I don't know what people want.
Well, they aren't justified. You know, there's no reason for that. Hamed, it's a good performance, you know, against a man who's never been stopped. He's not doing very much wrong, Hamed. There's a little mistake, but you know, you're always going to get hit in this game. And there, the chin just up in the air, the left hook and the right hand, both catching Hamed. Solid right hand from Hamed there. But the jab has been working so well.
She's had some quite hard ones as time has gone on. Hamed's landed 10 times as many jabs so far, as you can see there. I mean, he's had hard ones, McCulloch and Soto. It was usually, you know, the scares with Kevin Kelly, Augie Sanchez, but always away from home. Not happy in America, is he? I think much happier boxing in Britain. And I think he'll try to base himself here as much as possible during this comeback, although, of course, American television executives may dictate otherwise. Just doesn't seem to be able to prepare in quite the same way when he goes to the United States for some reason or another.
Just caught with a jab from Calvo as he tried to load up that left uppercut.
See, Hamed will have heard the boos. What effect might they have on him? I mean, the answer ought to be none, but he's only human. Might he just start to get a bit frustrated with his inability to get Calvo out of there?
Well, it could happen, but it's early on, and he won't like to hear that.
More boos again. This was certainly not in the script beforehand. This is certainly how they planned, I know, to go about the job tonight. A controlled performance, a softening up process, and then look to take Calvo out. He is in with an opponent who can really take a shot, and Hamed's landed plenty of good ones. So I think these boos are, I'd say it again, unreasonable, and I'm not trying to do a PR job for Hamed at all in that respect.
Well, I agree with you, Ian. There's a man that's never been stopped, boxed at a good level all his career, and it shouldn't be that easy for Hamed just to blow these people away. He's got to work at it.
Good shot from Calvo there, whose confidence may be growing. He's bruised under one eye and cut beneath another one. I don't know, maybe people are so used to buying tickets for Hamed to see him blow opponents away that when it doesn't happen in double quick time, they feel cheated in some way. But I don't know, that seems an unreasonable stance to me.
Calvo's trying to get a few more shots going. Still not doing enough for me to pick up any of the rounds. It's Hamed who's in control.
Just not doing quite as much now, though, Hamed. He gets home with the jab a couple of times, and that's been the stock weapon tonight. Calvo having the odd success as it goes on. A little sign, I think, that Hamed isn't quite as quick and elusive as he used to be when he was, say, 23, but you wouldn't expect that at his age.
No, you wouldn't. You know, he wants to get back, with a good win. And, you know, in fairness, a few rounds under his belt will not do him any harm.
More boos ringing around the arena. Well, I guess if you've paid good money for a ticket, you can do what the heck you like. You're allowed to boo, I guess, but I still don't understand it.
Well, I think a lot of the people do come here to see Hamed do what he does best, and that's, you know, knock people out. Calvo getting a little lively, a good jab there for him. It was another decent combination in the round. So, you know, he's trying to equip himself. This is a proud man. I'm just showing that the defense is still poor, and that's why Barrera, who's got that tremendous style, you know, did so well and beat Hamed.
Well, Calvo didn't give the most belligerent reply when somebody asked him if he was looking to cause a big shock tonight. He said, "We hope to do better than expected." Not what you want to hear, really, when you try to sell a fight, but he is doing better than most people expected. I think people are probably disappointed because Hamed isn't throwing more combination punches and is relying totally on the jab.
Well, maybe thinks Hamed's been a little bit careful, but, you know, you can forgive him for that.
I suppose it's a thin line between him boxing in a controlled fashion and that drifting into some kind of negativity.
Yeah, I think that is, and that's what people, you know, are trying to judge.
But I think people do have to remember he has been away for a long time, and this essentially is putting his feet back in the water exercise. Body shots. Hamed maybe getting the message from the crowd that they want a bit more from him, and I think maybe trying to provide it.
Right. No shots. Good night, guys.
Good body shot, and the reflex is still there to avoid that right hand from Calvo, but not the left jab. The Spaniard's giving a good account of himself here. A lot of people thought he might be beaten in a couple of rounds. And he gets it with the right hand. Another sign that Hamed's defense isn't everything it should be these days. And I think maybe the anxiety and disquiet of the crowd is just transmitting itself to Hamed, who now looks a bit distracted, looks at somebody at ringside.
Honestly, that was his father that he was looking to there. Calvo's certainly trying a bit harder, getting a bit more success.
Been a good, honest effort from him, but you're not looking at a world-class featherweight in Manuel Calvo, and there's no disguising that fact. Probably has got to the time where Hamed should view the softening up process as being over and be looking to step it up a bit more. This is the 6th round now. Seeing a different Naseem Hamed here. It's not to everybody's taste, it has to be said. Not in this crowd at the London Arena anyway. But I think I can see what he's trying to do now. Some big names, of course, in the featherweight firmament. Eric Morales fights Marco Antonio Barrera. They're the top two, although Barrera's not on that caption. You've got Derek Gaynor. Johnny Tapia's just become a champion again, the colourful veteran, and that would be a big fight, him and Hamed. I know there's a lot of talk of that. Julio Pablo Chacon, who fights Scotland's Scott Harrison on June the 8th. So it's a very lively scene, and Hamed has to show that he deserves to be a part of that big picture.
Hey, one more time. What's up, Excellent. That job, sharp, okay? Second win. 1, 2, 3, okay? 3s and 4s now, okay? Let's loosen up. It's time for you to loosen up, all right?
Let's loosen up, says Oscar Suarez.
Yep, 3s and 4s now. He's all been 1s and 2s, so, you know, he's probably boxing to a game plan.
Now Calvo is raging and looking to wage war with Hamed. He'll have watched what Marco Antonio Barrera did. He doesn't have the technical ability of the high-class Mexican. But he has caught Hamed enough to keep those questions being posed about the Hamed defence.
Well, I think that's always been there, the fact that, you know, he relies on his reflexes. He's got a very different style unorthodox, but you know, a fighter who's sharp can find glaring gaps in that defence.
Hamed going through this little idiosyncratic thing of his, of looking at the opponent's feet, not catching his eyes at all, and then throwing the punch like that, a right hand, which Calvo walked straight onto, but he absorbed that one as well. What is he made of? Metal, this fellow?
Well, he's definitely got a good chin. He's took some heavy punches, but still looking pretty alert in there.
And there's that uppercut, a trademark shot of Hamed's. He looks as if he's gathering some momentum here and providing a little more devil. The punches being thrown with increasing menace.
I think that's what the crowd want to see. They want to see and throw a few more shots, put their combinations together. Look like he's trying to get Calvo out of there.
Calvo with the left jab, but he's no kind of puncher, Calvo. He's a pea shooter puncher, really. Doesn't have the power, you would think, to trouble any world-class featherweights. I think that's the trouble, why we've heard the booing. Hamed made his reputation blasting people out explosively, and I think people are a bit surprised to see him playing the boxing stylist almost. Oh, a right hand, and no, it wasn't a knockdown. There was a right hand thrown into Hamed, gets up and goes through a little play-acting routine of wobbly legs, a la Bruce Grobbelaar almost. But it was a slip.
What he did do there was he leapt in and his feet slipped away from him, but that was dangerous. He could have been caught when he leapt in like that.
Hamed can't douse the fire of Calvo, who's come here with a lot of belief. Now the crowd like this a bit better as the action hots up. The crowd reaction to all this is strange, isn't it?
Yeah, they want more. They want to see better stuff from Hamed. You know, he's missing with shots. He's trying to do, and he's threatening a lot, but he's not doing a great deal.
He's talking to his dad. He's gone over to chat to his dad between the rounds. Pretty pumped up now. Let's have a look at that incident again. Calvo throws a right hand. I don't think it landed, though, and Hamed just slipped over.
Yeah, Hamed's feet just slipped away from him. Probably water in the Calvo corner.
Yeah, thin air shot from Calvo. It was a bit of an optical illusion. He's getting fired up now. Hamed, he wants to get on with this. He doesn't want a minute's break. Round 8. Not many people thought this would go this far. Well, he's doing his own version of the famous old Ali shuffle. Not so much the prince these days, I guess, Glenn. More like the sort of featherweight king in exile, isn't he?
Yeah, also like that. But still, there's a lot of missing with the Hamed shots. You know, he's not really getting the punches on that, you know, we've come to expect in the past.
Stop boxing.
Then leaping in with a big left hook and missing.
There was the attempted uppercut, but maybe not with quite that same hand speed that might have been there maybe 6 years ago. Hamed trying to shut the boos of the crowd out of his mind. Every time he attacks and starts throwing shots, they get all animated again and stop booing. See the Monday morning headlines already saying that Hamed made very heavy weather of it.
Well, he's not doing it in his normal flowing way. He did some good stuff early. He's tried to threaten to pick it up, hasn't been able to do that. And I think there will be some criticism.
This is not quite the statement he would have been looking to make on his return.
No, I think he'd want to say he was back. He was back in good fashion and ready for the next challenges out there, but this is not really the statement that he wanted.
It's been good to a point. There have been plenty of jolting shots. The jab has worked well, but maybe not enough combination punching to follow it. But isn't he allowed one night to work off the rust?
Of course he is. You know, you've got to give him that. You know, it's been a long time out of the ring, coming off a loss. You know, with the best will in the world, anybody needs to get themselves back.
Heads almost banging together there. There could have been a nasty cut. Calvo, who does his training at the Rayo Vallecano gym in Madrid. He's a big Atletico Madrid fan. He wouldn't have been too happy to see the bitter rivals Real with the Champions League in Britain the other night up in Glasgow. And he gets through another round without too much difficulty. Now, I just wonder what Naseem Hamed is making of the reaction of the fans tonight, which is very much part of the story.
Of course, now that I would imagine frustration will be starting to creep in. Almost half his punches have landed, still pretty accurate.
That's all. What's all about? We got to go, baby. Go around, baby. Go around. I want to throw a little bit of water up right here, right? Oh, I love that.
See, I think it rocked his self-belief to the core, losing to Barrera. This is a man who said he would never lose. He could not see that he would ever be beaten, but he was beaten, and he's had to reassess, and I think that's why he was away so long.
Yeah, I think it does take time to come to terms with that.
Don't fall asleep on me a little bit there, okay? Don't fall asleep on me for nothing, all right? Let's do it. Let's do it, baby. Go have some fun.
Round 9.
Well, Oscar Suarez seems happy enough.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what they're working on themselves. Maybe a bigger picture, a bigger plan, and this is part of it.
It's definitely that Hamed is looking to evolve and use strategy based on smarter boxing. Whether it's quite the finished article yet is pretty much open to question, and there's no doubt that if Marco Antonio Barrera or Eric Morales are watching this, and they probably are somewhere, they won't be losing too much sleep. Which is not to say that Hamed down the line can't come back. I think one of the problems, you know, that he's got, though, is his whole style was based on power, speed and reflexes. The power's going to stay, but the speed and reflexes are going to dull a little with age, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right. And you know, also when you've had a loss, your opponents then get a lot more belief that, you know, they can beat you. The invincibility goes, and you know, that's a big thing. We saw that in the past with people like Tyson. You know, they fear a lot of opponents, and when that's gone, all of a sudden you just come down a peg or two.
Here and there, the timing's just been a little amiss, too, from Hamed. Trying to whip in the left hand, too. Which I don't think it's helped him an awful lot boxing in this atmosphere, either.
Well, yeah, I must say, the atmosphere at the beginning was very, very good. All there for him to put a show on, and the crowd were behind him. They've just gone, you know, against him a little bit because I think they wanted the big performance and the knockout early.
Little jab there, watch the elbows. Hamed following in the punch. Trick that Mike Tyson is particularly adept at that. As Lennox Lewis may find out.
But also Hamed, having to go looking for Calvo a bit, and Hamed likes his opponents to come onto him more.
Just boxing in spurts a little, and at times out of range with the jab now. In the second round, he was really thudding those shots home, and the timing was really there.
Decent body shots going in from Hamed there.
So he could have to go the whole way again here, as he did with Wayne McCulloch and Cesar Soto. He looks a bit disappointed, Hamed, as he goes back to his corner, subdued even by his standards. He's winning. I mean, he's winning the fight by a long, long way. Of course he is, but it's hardly the point. I wonder what Barry McGuigan has to say about this. I'll be very interested. Barry.
Ian, I'm very disappointed with Nas. I expected a bit of ring rust, and that's perfectly understandable. But I don't see any pace. I don't see any injection of pace. I don't see him stringing punches together. I don't see him working off his jab or doing any of the things that he said he would do. He said we would see a new revised Naseem Hamed. I see nothing different than the old one. And if anything, he's depreciated as a fighter. He's got to step it up. He's got to wipe this guy out. And he's only got a couple of rounds to do it. Let's get out and get your foot on the gas, Nas.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Barry. Yeah, I fear that Hamed is going to play here to bad reviews come Monday morning.
Well, as every round goes along, Hamed doesn't do anything different to solve the problem. Doesn't seem to get any closer to stopping Calvo. The critics are going to come more and more.
Mixed into that, you have to say, though, that Calvo has shown very good durability and a very good attitude to this as well. He's doing himself proud in there. Remember, he's been out of the ring for a year too.
Yep, that's the thing, Ian. You want to talk about one of the best fighters in the world in Manuel Calvo. We're talking about a good European level fighter.
Yeah, good enough to be European champion.
Yep. So I think that's where the disappointment from the crowd is coming in. They know that the strength of Calvo.
Hamed again, looking at his opponent's boxing boots while looking to throw the jab. But it's become a frustrating evening for him, and there's no two ways about that now.
Sometimes you look at Hamed and you just think, he's in there and he's trying to remember the moves. He's trying to remember what came so natural to him. Now it seems a bit more effort.
I thought he was going to produce something quite spectacular in the second round when he boxed quite beautifully and landed any number of good shots. But only fitfully has he produced cameos of real class here.
A couple of good shots going in there for Hamed. He's trying to pick it up now. Certainly a bit more respect for his opponents coming in tonight.
I think you made a good point. I think people now believe that they can take Hamed rounds and that they do have a chance with him. And I think Calvo's in that league, isn't he? That's what he thinks.
Yeah, we've seen that happen. Still managing to find little holes in the defences of Hamed.
It's just not as easy for him anymore as it used to be. It's the story, in a way, of every fighter's life, particularly at the lighter weights. 28 is getting on a little when you're just a featherweight. The other little point, of course, is how much of a struggle was it for him to make featherweight? He was over the limit by a few ounces. Oh, that's a good left hand there, though. That stopped Calvo in his tracks. But again, he just absorbed it like blotting paper with some spilt ink.
But he has looked to come forward more and more, Hamed, in this round, threatening a lot but not quite delivering.
Well, more boos. I'll say it again. I think the crowd were too quickly on Naseem Hamed's case tonight. But, well, some people are leaving. Not many. One or two. Some people are coming in as well. I don't know where they've been.
Who gives a fuck? That's right. I know I'm doing my job.
What do you say then? I know I'm doing my job.
I'm doing my job.
Breaking him up.
It's almost like he's explaining it, just what he's trying to do. I'm breaking him up. But is he?
Well, it was better in that round. That was probably the best punch so far for Hamed. That did stop him in his tracks. But he's a good, solid professional, Calvo. He's keeping to his task. And he's doing very well.
6 minutes to go. And maybe the answer to this is that Calvo is a heck of a lot more durable and resilient and competent than we actually gave him credit for.
Well, I think that's right, but Hamed has never really picked up the pace and went all out for the stoppage. There's a certain amount of hesitancy from Hamed, maybe a bit of belief after that beating by Barrera has gone out of him. Certainly I don't think the confidence is really deep-rooted like it was.
Yeah. And a lot of what he did was built on that bedrock of massive self-confidence. Calvo's got to do championships. And Hamed trying to line him up for something. Not really just getting the punches away in that old style. The business, there's no doubt about it, in recent years has become harder for him.
Well, we've also got to remember Calvo's last fight was against Steve Robinson, who recently retired. So, you know, it puts it into perspective. Hamed.
But having said that, he achieved plenty, didn't he? 16 world title fights, and he won nearly all of them by stoppage. Little right hand there from Calvo. He's worked the jab, but there hasn't been too much punches thrown in bunches from Hamed.
He's lacked that bit of devil, I would say. At times he's threatened quite a bit, but that real devil has been gone. You know, when he really went to get opponents out of there, he usually succeeded.
Still some classy shots thudding in from him. Calvo is taking them all, absorbing them all, and barely flinching.
You still got to remember that, you know, he has been out of the ring a long time, coming back after a bad loss.
Looking for the body shot. He wants that stoppage now, I think, Hamed.
Well, I think if he doesn't get it, there'll be a great sense of disappointment in his performance.
I'd have to say that Calvo deserves to hear the final bell, doesn't he?
Good work from Hamed there, picking shots up.
Bit more of the old razzle-dazzle of old there. Just glimpses, almost like a rock star suddenly breaking into one of his old hits. And another good-looking shot. And Calvo this time wants to hold on and buy a little time. But he's got through another section.
When you talk about rockstar, a bit like Elvis in the later years when he still had the voice but couldn't quite remember all the words.
Yeah.
Now you talking my language, baby. Drink a little bit.
Well, he tried to pick it up, some single shots, but this is where, you know, the mistakes are still there. Left in, you know, better fighters like Barrera were catching him with doing the exact same thing. Calvo not up to that level as Barrera, couldn't quite do it, but you know, the mistakes are still there.
I just wonder whether his style got diluted somewhere along the way by trying to graft in more conventional skills. I think the people who tried to do that meant well, but somehow he was always better as the complete maverick knockout artist.
Well, you know, but there was a point come around Kevin Kelly when that wasn't working anymore. I think in hindsight it looks that way, but at the time we were asking these questions then.
I think what you're seeing tonight is Hamed trying to remodel himself as more boxer than blaster.
Well, still every single round I've given for Hamed. Calvo's hanging in there, and the odd little bit of defiance, but not too much.
But murmurs of discontent around the arena. It's been a night when Hamed hasn't kept the customers satisfied, no matter what his own views about this might be afterwards.
Well, Ian, I think you've got to look at when people are leaving as they are, that's damaging for Hamed.
I wouldn't say they're leaving in droves, just to keep that in perspective, but a few people are. That is a fact. Misses with the left hook. Not at all the comeback that Naseem Hamed had planned, and there's some idiot away to my left trying to break into the ring. He's been taken away by the security men. Battling performance from Manuel Calvo, this. Don't take anything away from him, because although Hamed has not been at his best, far from it, Calvo has shown excellent punch resistance and a very good attitude to the task in hand.
Well, he said he wanted to do better than people thought or people expected, and he has.
Yes, I don't think there's any easy black and white verdict on what you're watching here tonight. There are too many factors to be mixed into the equation. Hamed's long absence from the ring, Calvo's extra resilience. He took another jolting shot there from Hamed, who put all his old power into it, and he's probably surprised to see the gallant Spaniard still standing in front of him. Last 30 seconds, it does look as if this is going to go the full 12 rounds. Hamed cannot get Manuel Calvo out of there.
Well, leaping in desperate attempts now to try and find the big KO punch from Hamed.
Well, the Prince is certainly not on course for a renewed coronation just yet.
Well, it's the right decision.
It's all over. Big boos around the arena as the two fighters hug each other. Hamed is back, and I don't think there's any doubt that he's won the fight. He gets a kiss from his brother there in the corner and from his dad. And I think, I don't know, what is the verdict there? I mean, he didn't look his old self. There's no two ways about it. There were good things mixed in there in patches. But what do you think, Glenn?
Well, I think you've got to say unsatisfactory. You know, he's been out a long time. He's coming off a loss. Unsatisfactory. He needed more. I don't know. It looked a little bit that the fire wasn't there. It looked like he was trying to remember what to do at times. It was difficult to assess, Ian.
We're ready for the decision. Hamed, there are a chance now of what a load of rubbish for Hamed. So you'd have to say this has been something of a PR disaster.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the IBO scorecards. The winner of the contest will be the new IBO featherweight champion. Roy Francis scores this contest 120 to 110. Rocky Young and John Rupert both have it 119 to 109. All for the winner by unanimous decision. He is now the new champion, Prince Naseem.
Well, he's back with a win, but he hasn't won any popularity contest tonight, Naseem Hamed, and there's still